Talk to me about your personality and how someone who seems very private is so extroverted in their career.
That's a well, first of all, thank you. And I've been a fan of you for
Yeah.
this whole run, and I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Um and proud to see your ascension as well. For me, I am kind of a naturally laid back, so I'm the
Yeah.
observer.
Yeah.
Um and it's just funny how life works out, or there has to be a divine poetry in it all, because it's like, so my brother Marlon Williams, we grew up together. He's extrovert with explanation points, to the 100th degree, and I'm sort of the quiet observer, always seeing what's really happening, right? And it's interesting because my wife is a people person. When I say I'm not a people person, it doesn't mean I don't like people. I just, I come from blue collar Brooklyn. Like, we sit back and, what I'm saying, get the lay of the land first, and then if we vibe, all right, I'll have a conversation here and there, but I'm not and it's interesting because my youngest daughter is a lot like me. And then my son and my oldest daughter are kind of like people. They'll just walk up and talk to anybody. And I'm like, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's PTSD. I'm like, yo, I'm on the A train right now. You don't just walk up to a stranger and talk to him. You don't know. But it's been so I read a quote from Sidney Poitier, even before I got the honor of meeting him, when he said, as actors, the less people know about you, the more they're
Mm.
buying to the characters you sell.
Mhm.
And that always stuck with me. And obviously this is way before social media and these type of things where you sort of have to engage. But the way you engage is how you choose to do it. So, I am in a way like when people actually do meet me, or we sit and break bread or something like that, they're always like, "Oh, I thought you were like so serious, man. I thought you were some life is serious. I'm cool. Like, I just want to laugh and have fun, like
You
everybody else."
you do have a serious energy about you, but I don't think it's like not fun. I think it's about my business. I don't know y'all, so I'm not gonna talk. Like I that's how I feel. Like even when you were when I would interview at ESPN, I remember the last time I talked to you, I think I was doing Sports Nation, and we were being silly. All of us were being silly. And you're like,
That's because it was probably so early in the morning,
you was like,
you know. Uh-huh.
Okay, guys, I'm not.
Let's get to these questions.
Yes, yeah, exactly, exactly. Isn't it a weird when we were young and we would watch these people who then become peers in some random way, where you get to go and talk to them and say hi, and in your case, literally work with them. Not my case, but in your case, literally work with them. I get to interview you all, but I don't get to work with you. How does that feel to you at this moment? When you look back on
Honestly, it feels amazing. I think I was 17 when I did my first film, Juice. So I was literally a puppy, like literally a baby. I knew
Mhm.
nothing about anything. And so I viewed it from a different lens. It was like, when you're 17, you think you're invincible, you're gonna live forever, nothing's gonna happen to you. You don't know anything about life yet.
Yeah.
And I so am honored, and at this point, I'm just so thankful. That's the word. Like, I try to walk in a state of gratitude constantly every day, because it's just it still amazes me. I mentioned Sidney Poitier earlier. I got the chance to meet him a few times actually, but the first time I had like a meeting in this hotel, and he was in the restaurant part eating by himself, graciously and eloquently as he would,
As he is.
and and um and I
Rest in peace.
fanboyed out, and I just couldn't. I was like, I already at that point, I forget what movie I had coming out, but I'd done a couple of films or whatever. I had to shake this man's hand because he's literally like my acting hero. He's one of the primary reasons I felt that I had the things that it took to not only become an actor but make a career out of this thing.
Mhm.
And so I walk up to him. I say, "Hey, Mr. Portier, I don't want to disturb you." That's like the worst thing you could say to anybody when they're eating. "I don't want to disturb you, but," and I'm like, I'm a young actor, and
Yeah.
I so admire you, and thank you so much for all that you've meant to me and given. And he was like, "I know who you are, son.
Mm.
You do very good work." That's all. After that, You talk about mic drop, my head exploded like
I'm so
I was I was floating. So, but just everyone that I've had the privilege to work with, from whether it's Nia Long, Gabrielle Union, the filmmakers, David Talbot, Charles Murray, who, wrote and directed The Devil You Know. It's part of our journey. We're artists. And to get to play in the sandbox together is a true honor. And to have been doing it for 3 decades now. It was a cold day back in 1892.
You talk about Juice. I met Tupac randomly. I had a fake ID and I went into some club and he was there. And I tell this Tupac story all the time. Nothing bad happened, but Tupac was like, how old are you? First of all, before I talk to you, I was like 18. He was like, okay. And then it was beeper time. He was like, let me pager. Right. He took my pager, and then I guess he called maybe a couple of days later, but I had my friend reply, but there was a message, and after the number was his code was 3 2s, 222. So my homegirl calls back. She's like, who's this? Because remember, you had to do that. People who don't know what beepers were, this is how it worked. Pagers. And he was like, this is Tupac. And my friend was like, yeah, right. And handed me the phone. I have, at 18, no boyfriend ever. I don't even think I ever kissed a boy at this time. And I'm on the phone talking to Tupac. You talking about nervous. I don't know what to do with myself. Crazy, right? But he don't know that. And so I'm all like, come and hang out with me and my friends. Like, he's like, huh? Like, you and your friends. You know where I'm going. But obviously we didn't get it didn't go there, or we didn't have an opportunity to talk in that manner because I just had my friends around me because I was so scared. But he was, say what you want, even in the minutes, the tiny time I had a chance to talk to him, and I reflect back on it, he was so smart. He was so ahead of his time. If you caught him out of that, if you caught him out of all of that, if you caught him just to talk about art, about what you want to do, how you want to live your life. And I thought that was really beautiful because he took 10 minutes to be like, so what you want to do when you grow up? And I'm like, I'm going to be a TV reporter, like he's like, What was your experience when you worked with him?
That's a great story. And it's that's Pac. I mean, the thing that I lead with all the time when I reminisce about Pac is his intellect. He was so smart, and people overlook, like, he's just become this iconic, legendary figure. Yeah. But they overlook the fact that, he completed this body of work in 6 years. He was 19 when we did Juice, and he transitioned at 25. And from music to film, it's mind-boggling. And he was that. So being that you got to be in his physical presence, Tupac was one of those people that has an energy that shifts the room. Mm-hmm. There's certain people that walk into a room and the energy shifts. Mm-hmm. And he was one of those people. And we were babies, and just I miss him. And it's been interesting because in this last, prior to the pandemic or what have you, just sort of, I've been starting to reflect on my own career and my own doings, and I think about him because I'm like, man, if Tupac had an IG, if Pac had a Twitter, like, I you know what I mean? And his legacy through blood in terms of children and things that, like, he never even got to actualize in a real way. And so I carry that mantle, but I know he's still with me, mm-hmm. pushing me on, like, yo, mm-hmm. I'm in this other realm doing what we got to do. So keep pushing in this realm. And that's what it feels like to me.
How has your goals as an actor changed post-pandemic? Because it's not about just being a movie star anymore.
Yeah, to me, it's all about the evolution. At the end of the day, I still love this thing of ours. And I realize that the art is a medium that's pushing me towards my greater purpose. And so when I say evolution, I executive produced this film, The Devil You Know. I've been writing a lot. I'm going to get behind the camera, direct, and it just sort of the progression of a career. To me, it's not like, oh, I'm trying to put on a different hat or do, because it's like, truth be told, I've basically executive produced a bunch of movies and stuff that I didn't get credit for. or have
Oh,
co-written because I'm a part of the creative process, like the
sure.
collaborative process.
Same.
But
Sure.
so how that part of it goes. But for me, it's like really I just try to stay focused on, my what is my greater purpose? Is there something big? And so even when we're reminiscing about Pac, it's like when I think about him now, he would have transitioned into
Easy.
something Obama like, in my opinion,
Wow.
because he was articulate, he was a great orator, but he knew how to incite emotion, and he came from the mud. So he had the people, and the people that I feel akin to that in the sense of the people have kept me on their shoulders all of these years. When you talk about these transitions that happen, like again, I'm an observer, so I'm watching the industry shift, and I'm like, intentionally, I'm going to do TV. And right out the gate, I hit him with House, and that ran for 8 seasons, and this was before. This is like I remember that was like
Ooh,
the
I
second.
mean, I don't mean to interrupt, but House, genius, genius.
Nobody saw it coming. Thank you. Nobody saw it coming, and it's like constantly because an artist is an artist is an artist. It's just the different formats, and so here, let's take this kid. This is how I was thinking about it. Like this kid who had this string of movies and played a bunch of athletes and stuff, and because they were trying to box me into, you're gonna be this guy. It was just like, nope, I'm gonna pivot and take a chance, and I was successful at that, and that just fuels you to follow your instincts, and where we are at now, it's literally just the format, right? Like we call it streaming, or like people still love having the communal experience of going to the movies. There's just that certain things, in my opinion, the ecosystem has gotten bigger. So there's certain things that my kids, I just study my kids, and I'm like, they watch this on YouTube and they like seeing it on YouTube. They don't want to go to the movies and see that. But this thing, they want to know, Dad, we got to go to the movies. I want to get popcorn. We got to get my friends. So but it's all in the ecosystem. It's just different parts of it. So for me, it's an exciting time to be a creator, because they can't tie your hands behind your back, and we know what the corporate game is like when you were, the ESPNs and all of this is all a part of a bigger Disney, this rules, regulations, guidelines, and that format works for certain people, and other people, it's like, kind of feel restrained. But the point is, now there's all these other options that if that doesn't work for you, we'll try it this way, because the people will come to you because they rock with you.